Shaolin Kung Fu is often called the king of all fighting systems, but that title was never earned through trophies, televised fights, or promotional hype. It was forged through centuries of survival on real battlefields, in monasteries that were burned, rebuilt, and attacked again, and through the quiet endurance of monks who trained not to be admired, but to be unbreakable. To most people, Shaolin seems almost unreal, something between legend and cinema. We see monks lying on beds of nails, taking spears to the throat, allowing heavy stones to crash onto their bodies, and we assume it must be trickery, hidden padding, or camera angles. But these displays are not theater. They are the surface expression of a system that has been refining the human body and mind for over 1,500 years. Imagine standing completely still while a spear presses against the soft tissue of your throat, not flinching, not tensing, not pulling away. Now imagine lying flat as a sledgehammer smashes a concrete slab resting on your chest. There is no room for error, no protective equipment, no second chance. Yet Shaolin monks perform these feats not once, but repeatedly calmly, as part of their training. These are not circus tricks. They are demonstrations of how deeply their nervous system, bones, muscles, and breath have been conditioned to work together under pressure. The real mystery is not how they survive these feats. The real mystery is why modern fighters, equipped with sports science, nutrition, strength training, and advanced combat systems, often find themselves overwhelmed when facing Shaolin-trained practitioners. How can people who live without gyms, supplements, or professional fight camps develop abilities that seem to defy modern understanding of the human body? The answer is not magic. It is not superstition. And it is not secret techniques hidden from the world. It is a completely different way of building a human being. Shaolin Kung Fu is not just a fighting style. It is a long-term engineering project applied to the body and the mind. Where modern training tries to maximize performance in short windows of time, Shaolin training is designed to eliminate weakness over decades. Where modern fighters prepare for competitions with rules, rounds, and referees, Shaolin monks prepare for conditions where none of those protections exist. This is why Shaolin masters appear so difficult to defeat. Not because they are superhuman, but because they are trained in a system that removes the normal human reactions to stress, pain, and fear. Their advantage does not come from having more power. It comes from having fewer internal obstacles. In this documentary, we will break down how that system works. We will explore how Shaolin monks are built from childhood, how their bodies are turned into resilient structures, how their minds are trained to stay calm under chaos, and why modern fighters, despite all their technology, struggle against them. This story does not begin in the ring. It begins in childhood, in repetition, in discipline, and in a way of life that leaves almost nothing untrained. The system that begins before you can choose. Shaolin mastery does not begin with fighting. It begins with something far more powerful: structure. Long before a monk ever throws a punch, blocks a strike, or learns a form, their body is reshaped by a daily rhythm that leaves almost no room for weakness to grow. In Shaolin tradition, many monks enter the monastery as children, sometimes as young as 4 or 5 years old. At that age, they are not thinking about combat, self-defense, or glory. They are simply being placed inside a system that will quietly build them, day by day, year by year. Their mornings start before the sun rises. There is no snooze button, no negotiation with fatigue. The body is required to move before the mind fully wakes. Long-distance running comes first, not to build speed, but to build stamina and respiratory control. These runs are not short sprints designed to push maximum output. They are slow, steady, grinding efforts meant to teach the body how to function when tired. The legs burn, the lungs ache, and yet the pace continues. This is not about athletic performance. It is about teaching the nervous system that discomfort does not mean danger. After running comes stance training. To an outsider, this looks almost boring. Monks lower themselves into deep, wide stances and remain there for minutes at a time. The thighs tremble, the lower back screams, and sweat pools on the floor. But this phase is where Shaolin strength is actually built. Roughly 70% of foundational Shaolin training focuses on the lower body. The reason is simple. Without a stable base, everything above it is useless. Punching power, balance, resistance to impact, and even breathing all depend on what the legs and hips can support. Modern training often skips this phase or rushes through it. People want to see fast progress, big muscles, and flashy techniques. Shaolin training does not care about any of that. It treats the body like a building. If the foundation is weak, no amount of decoration will prevent collapse. So the early years of Shaolin life are spent strengthening bones, tendons, and connective tissue in the legs and hips until they become unshakable. What makes this even more powerful is how long it is maintained. A child who starts stance training at 5 years old may still be practicing the same stances 20 years later. The movement never changes. Only the depth, control, and internal stability improve. This is how Shaolin monks develop legs that can absorb shock, maintain balance on uneven ground, and generate force without needing momentum. But physical conditioning is only half of what is happening here. At the same time the muscles are burning, the mind is being trained. Monks are taught not to react to discomfort with panic or frustration. Pain is not ignored, but it is not dramatized either. It is simply observed. Over time, this creates a nervous system that remains calm even when the body is under extreme strain. This is one of the most important differences between Shaolin practitioners and modern fighters. In modern gyms, pain is usually treated as a signal to stop. Rest, ice, and recovery are emphasized, which is not wrong, but it also teaches the nervous system to associate discomfort with danger. Shaolin training does the opposite. It introduces controlled discomfort early and often, teaching the body that it can continue functioning even when conditions are unpleasant. This builds resilience at a level that most people never experience. As the monks grow older, their training becomes more complex, but it never abandons its foundation. Kicks, strikes, and forms are layered on top of the same stances and endurance work. Nothing replaces it. Everything depends on it. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Shaolin training is its apparent simplicity. From the outside, it looks repetitive. The same movements, the same drills, the same exercises, day after day. But this repetition is exactly what creates transformation. Bones respond to repeated stress by becoming denser. Tendons become thicker. Balance becomes automatic. Muscles learn to coordinate without conscious effort. This is not something that can be rushed. It can only be accumulated. By the time a Shaolin monk begins serious combat training, their body is already radically different from that of a normal person. They are not just strong. They are structured. Their joints are stable. Their posture is aligned. Their breathing is controlled even under strain. They do not waste energy fighting their own bodies. This is why Shaolin training is so difficult to copy. You cannot recreate decades of adaptation with modern shortcuts. You cannot supplement your way to bone density. You cannot fast-track tendon thickness. You cannot hack nervous system calm. All of it must be earned through time and repetition. And this is the real secret behind Shaolin mastery. It is not technique. It is not secret knowledge. It is not mystical power. It is the quiet accumulation of thousands of hours of stress applied in exactly the right way, at exactly the right pace, starting before the body has learned to resist it. By the time a Shaolin monk faces an opponent, the fight has already been decided by years of preparation. The opponent may be faster, they may be bigger, they may even be stronger, but they are stepping into a system that has removed hesitation, instability, and fragility from the inside out. And that is only the beginning, turning the body into a weapon. Shaolin conditioning is often described as extreme, but that word does not fully capture what is really happening. Extreme implies recklessness, pushing beyond limits until something breaks. Shaolin training does the opposite. It applies stress so slowly and so precisely that the body is forced to adapt instead of collapse. Over years and decades, this controlled pressure reshapes bones, tendons, skin, and nerves into structures that can withstand forces most people would never survive. This process is documented in what are known as the 72 Arts of Shaolin. These are not secret scrolls of magical techniques. They are methodical training systems designed to strengthen specific parts of the body through carefully increased resistance. Each art targets a different region: hands, fingers, skull, torso, legs, and even internal organs. The goal is not to make the monk immune to pain. The goal is to change how force moves through the body. One of the most famous examples is iron palm training. To the untrained eye, it looks like monks smashing bricks or breaking boards. But that is only the final stage. Real iron palm begins with something much softer. Practitioners start by striking and pressing their hands into sand. Not punching, but sinking the hand into resistance, thousands of times. As the tissues adapt, the sand is replaced with gravel, then stones, then steel shot. Sometimes water is used to reduce friction while increasing pressure. What is happening here is not mystical. It is biological. Bone responds to impact by becoming denser. Connective tissue responds by becoming stronger. Nerves learn to transmit signals without overreacting. Over time, the hands stop being fragile tools and become dense, resilient instruments capable of delivering force without injury. The same principle applies to finger training. Monks begin by gripping soft materials and gradually move to harder surfaces. Eventually, some support their entire body weight on one or two fingers. This is not a trick. It is structural adaptation. The bones in the fingers thicken. The tendons become stronger. The joints stabilize. What would tear a normal hand apart becomes manageable because the tissues have been built to handle it. Then there is iron head gong, which sounds terrifying for a reason. Early training involves padded contact, gentle impacts, and neck strengthening. Over time, the padding is reduced. The skull, like any other bone, becomes denser when stressed correctly. More importantly, the nervous system stops panicking when a head is struck. This prevents a shock response that usually causes disorientation or collapse. Torso conditioning follows similar principles. Practices like iron shirt and iron bull gong involve controlled impacts, falls, and coordinated breathing. The goal is not to become rigid. It is to become structured. When force hits the body, it is dispersed across the entire frame instead of being absorbed by one weak point. The abdomen, ribs, and lower back learn to stay aligned even under pressure. Breathing plays a critical role here. Monks are taught to exhale and tighten specific muscle chains at the moment of impact. This prevents internal organs from shifting violently and reduces injury. Over time, this becomes automatic. The body responds correctly without conscious thought. This is why Shaolin monks can lie under concrete slabs while sledgehammers smash them. It is not because they are immune to damage. It is because their bodies are trained to distribute force efficiently. The impact does not concentrate in one place. It flows through the entire structure. Modern fighters rarely train this way. They protect their bodies from damage, which makes sense for competition, but also means their tissues never adapt to direct trauma. When something unexpected happens, the shock overwhelms them. Shaolin conditioning removes that vulnerability. But even the strongest body has limits. Muscles fatigue. Bones can still break. If Shaolin mastery were only about physical toughness, it would eventually fail. What truly makes these monks so difficult to defeat is not just what their bodies can endure, but how their minds remain calm when things become chaotic. And that brings us to the next layer of their power. Shaolin Kung Fu isn't just about fighting. It's about becoming unbreakable. While the world trains for power, speed, and show, Shaolin trains for survival, control, and resilience. And that's why, even today, their monks remain so difficult to defeat. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Shaolin way, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Let us know in the comments what amazed you the most. And as always, stay strong, stay disciplined, and we'll see you in the next video.